Oh, okay. So I just started recording. So I think for people that will be missing, I will have to go through how I did the registration again. Oh, wow, that's okay. Let's just go over it again and do it another time so you see what I'm saying. Okay, so let's try to open a new incognito window. Let's just redo that one briefly. So we go to aws.amazon. So yes, let's create an AWS account. Okay, let me get this ready. So now, like I said before, so my email address is still sunsonfc@gmail.com, but I want to create multiple AWS accounts with that just single email address. And I don't want to be, having different email address to create the AWS account. So we know the other time we did Sunson FC plus day 2, right? So let's do another one. Sunson FC plus, let's say let's just use another thing differently. Someone should just give me what I should use. So you will get that it's not just me that put it there. Anybody?
AWS.
Okay, AWS so you will see at gmail.com. Let's say AWS, right? So let's see if we'll be able to verify this. So they send me a code now to that same email address, which is tunsonfc@gmail. So I have 277064. Will I be able to verify? Yes, your email is verified, and it's what? Same email address. Do you understand now? So we can just set password. Okay, let me just use this password. I hope it's going to bring this same password here. It's not showing, so it's okay. Let me just form another password, maybe the one I used earlier. I'm very terrible when it comes to password. Don't mind me. Okay, so we have this. So we continue to the next step. Like I said earlier, so you just fix it personal, your name. I just say Ade. You put your number, your region, your address, and you put in everything and you continue to the next step, then to the third step. Like I said earlier, verifying the email is the difficult part of this. So if you can verify your email, so why it's difficult is because if you are using different and multiple accounts, once you use one email address, you will want to use another different email address. No, you don't need that. You just need just a single email address. So once you can get that single email address, you can just open as many AWS accounts that you want. So like you see here, you have free ties offer that can offer you. That's the reason why you open different email accounts, because you want to have different what's it called? You want to have more free ties. When one is exhausted, you want to use another one because you are practicing. Like I said before I started recording, people that are new in this are actually for the victim of creating let's say an EC2 instances and forget it, or they don't know where it's been created. And the reason being that, they are new, they don't know how to terminate the instances, they don't know much, they're just practicing, or maybe they create it in this region and it appears in another region, they don't know how to trace it. So a lot of issue really happens, and it's understandable. Even sometimes when I run an EC2, I used to forget it sometimes, like, oh, it is my dream. I can just wake up, oh, I'm running an EC2 instances. Let me just go and shut it down, terminate it. Do you understand? So it do happen. So when I started, the first time I used AWS, I I I created like 2 different instances, and it took me 4 hours to start looking for it. But I created it here. I don't know. I created it in different region, and I'm looking it in another region. I'm like, where is this? I can't see it. I'm like, okay, maybe it deleted itself. And after a week, I just checked my bill and I saw some dollars. I'm like, what's happening? So it do happens like that. So let me just minimize this and then go back to this. So if everything works fine, so if you're able to complete the registration, so this is where it's going to bring you to. So like I said earlier, so these are all these different category of services that we have. So the reason why many people choose AWS more than other platform is because of the services they have. They have more services than other platform, and it depends on what they are using. So if someone wants to use some service that is not on Azure or GCP, you have to resort to AWS. And sometimes people like, okay, maybe AWS is more expensive. Let's go for Azure since it has the service that we are using. And Azure and GCP are more, user friendly. Depends on what you want to use and your decision on how we want to migrate to the cloud. So we have all this under compute. We have the container, we have storage, then we have different database that you can choose from. If you are using relational database, maybe Elasticsearch, Newton. If you are using Amazon, DynamoDB, just anyone. So this DynamoDB is mainly used in serverless technology. So when you're talking about migration and transfers, so these are most of the services here. You have network and content delivery. Yeah. So you look at all the resources. Yeah. So it has a lot of, if you are doing machine learning, if you are doing Internet of Things, if you are doing virtual reality, so everything that you are doing, if you are working on blockchain, we have Amazon managed blockchain, it's robotic. We have different, so more like everything that you want to do is in the cloud. So let me just pause a minute and see the chat to see any question. Yeah. Okay, someone say use a password generator. Yeah, you can use password generator. It's also fine, but I'm very bad in password. Okay, I don't think we have any question here. Oh, okay. So we can continue. So these are all the services that we have. Yeah. So to game development, Internet of Things, security, I just mentioned it. So we have all these services. Yeah. So now, so let me come here and explain. The other time I talk about region, availability zone. What is it all about? So now, these are what we call regions. So these are what we call regions. So I'm trying to open them in different tabs. So we just go to them and see. So currently, I'm in North Virginia region. Okay, so I'm in this region at the moment. So this region is US East 1 region. Now, you can see that everything I have, let's say I want to go to EC2 now. Someone is asking, what about the phone number during registration? So you can put any phone number there. You can put any phone number there. You don't have any issue with that. So, okay, I'm trying to see. Okay, so I'm in this region now. So in this region, as you can see, I just open this. I will see explain this. So, okay, okay, in this region, I'm in this region now. I have. Do you have a question? Someone is asking a question. Okay. So while I'm in this region, I have access to all the resources, everything that I want to have access to. I can search here and go to anything. Maybe I want to start for OpenShift. Listen, Capital Credit, anything that I want to do is in this region. So let's move to another region. Can you see that I've changed region now to another region? Now let's go to another region. I've changed another region. This is not California. I changed to another region, which is Central Canada, I think. Canada Central. So now there are some resources, or let's say services, that they are global services, and some they are region-based. So if you say a global service, those are the services that regardless of where you create it, you can access it all over the region. So if I'm in this region, and so one of these is S3 bucket. So S3 bucket is a global service. However, it's still region dependent. So I think I'm going to show us that now. So don't let me complicate it. So I'm just going to explain. Okay, I'm trying to check in the chat if there's a question. Okay, so I'm still going to explain that. So don't let me complicate that. So these are what we call different regions. So inside this region, you can see here, we have what we call, I don't know if I should go into this to explain this or I should. Okay. So inside this region, we have what we call the VPC, which is the virtual private cloud. So I'm trying to see how I can explain this on, but okay. I think I should use just an institute to explain this. Should I use this? Oh, okay. Okay, I think it's, yeah. So now look at this very well. If you can navigate to me, and under this, I think this will explain that we have this region, US East 1. Then if you look at this, let me just use this. Let me open this and see. So I want to show the difference here. So you'll be able to see. This is another region. Then let me do this. So you will see the difference between what you know at region. I want to explain the principle of region and availability zones now. So if you look at this, we are in this region. You said the service, what's the status? The service is operating normally. So now look at these zones. We have zone name, zone ID. So we have US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are what we call the availability zones. So what this means is that in this particular region, they have 6 data centers. Just like I explained it in the other time, like yesterday, like in Nigeria, for example, we can have maybe 3 data centers in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, for example. So exactly in this region too, they have 6 data centers, which is this. So this is what we call the zones. But look at this region, which is US East. Looking at this, they have how many data centers? They have 1, 2, and 3. Then let's go to another region. Here they have 2 data centers in that region. Then let's check on this. So and see how many data centers. So data center varies on the region. So, but remember the other time we said they must have a minimum of 2 or 3. So most of them have a minimum of 3, and some have 2 data centers. And what is it because of this? Why do we have minimum of 2? Is because of what? Failure, reliability, for application to be available. Maybe one data center is down, you can access another one. So looking at this Canada Central, this CA Central, they have what? 3 data centers. California has 2. And this also has what? 3. And this has 6. So those are what we explain what we know as the data availability zone. So in this availability zone, I'm taking us into different concepts. explain all these ones later, but I'm trying to get us to different concepts that we are going to use to understand this. So look at this here. We have what we call the VPC, which is the virtual private cloud. For each of these regions, we always have one VPC, which is virtual private cloud. We always have one. And you can see this default here. So inside this VPC, you can now have what? All these availability zone. And this will serve as what we call the subnets. I wish you can go more into networking here so you're able to understand it, but I don't want to rush us. It's more like beginner. I just want to show us the interface and how it works. So don't let me go deep into that. So you can see that, yeah. Okay, so I want to show something here. So when I open here, you can see that we have different regions. This is in the US. This is Mumbai. This is in Asia Pacific. So all these ones are in Asia. Then this is in Canada. These ones are in Europe. Then this is in South America. Then there are other 10 regions that are not enabled for this account. So not enabled for this account. So we have one in South Africa. We have Middle East. We have in Iran. We have in Reuters in Switzerland, and many other places that we have other regions. So now, whenever you want to choose your region, you choose your region based on, let's say, two main criteria: your user and your location. So if your user are in Europe and you are in Europe, it doesn't make sense to choose a region in North America or in other parts. So you consider where your user are and where we are also what you are located. That's where you select your users. So now I want to go now into the most, let's just, okay, so let's start with this. This is we are already on this. So we are going to run an instance now. I'm going to show you how it works. We are going to go into it. So now, this EC2 service, let me show us EC2. Let's just say AWS. I want to show something in documentation. Do you have documentation here? Okay. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So for this EC2, there is what we call the free time. So that means you have 750 hours for all these OS, for Linux, for Red Hat, for SL, for Windows, all this one on tier 2, on T2 and T3 instance. So you have 750 hours for compute hours to use it. But once you use it and this 750 is exhausted, then you have to start paying. So different services as their what free time, you can actually go ahead and check it in their documentation. So what is an Amazon EC2? So we will call it Elastic Compute Cloud. So it's more like a web server that provides secure, reliable compute capacity in the cloud. Now, access, reliability, scalar infrastructure. So it has a commitment of 99.99% availability. That means if you're talking about this, that means the downtime in a year is like, is it like 5 minutes or I can't remember. So don't let me give you a false number. So that means this thing is always available for us to use. But to a layman, to a person that doesn't even know about the cloud, I'm going to explain what does an EC2 means now. Like, what is this EC2? How can you picture it? Now, take for example, look at it in this form that everybody has a personal computer. Your personal computer now is just more like this EC2. I don't know if I get. So any PC you have, just be viewing it in that instant, be doing a pictorial view to it. Your PC is like this EC2. So everything you can do on your personal computer, maybe you want to download, you want to install, you want to do anything that you do on your personal computer is EC2. It now depends on any computer you have. Maybe you are using Windows, maybe the OS, you are using Mac, everything is EC2. And we are going to demonstrate it now. We are going to see. So that is EC2. Let's just go to one region. Now let me quickly explain. So instance is just like you have one computer, like you have one personal computer. That's one instance. If you have two personal computers, that's two instances. So when you're now talking about instance type, so when you click, let's go to it and say we don't have any instance running. So we're going to start, we'll go to run an instance now. So we have what we call the instance type. So when you're talking about instance type, what does it mean? So I want you to look, so you see. So you know when you have a computer, they say, what computer are you using? Someone will say, okay, well, I'm using, let's say I'm using 2 gig RAM, 3 gig RAM, 8 gig RAM, 16 gig RAM. So that's exactly the same thing when we're talking about the instance type. So it has different type. We have the T1 micro. To tell you how many CPU does it have, what is the memory. T2, you see different type of this instance. So you can choose any of the instance, and here you can see how much does it charge. How much does it charge? So if you have the time, we'll go to the pricing. We'll go to the pricing. So we have what we call the launch template. So you can create a template to launch your EC2. I think we talk about this. So we now have different instance type. We have the spot request, we have the saving plan, we have the reserve instance, dedicated host, we have the one that's the main common one is the pay as you go. That means you will only be charged for what you use. So if you start an instance now, I'm still going to explain. I'm going to show us this. We're going to do the practical. I'm just trying to explain to us to show us the big picture. So if you want an instance now and you shut it down, let's assume what you are using it for, you are not using it in a free time. The only time you use it, that's the only time they're going to charge you. So that's what we know as pay as you go. So now this time we have different how will I call it? Payment plans. So it depends on what you want to use the instance for. So you have the spot request. You want to request for a spot request for your instance, or you want to have a saving plan for your instance, or you want to have a reserve instance that maybe I want to reserve this, I'm going to use it in a year. We have the dedicated those that this instance is dedicated for only this. This is what you want to run it for, and we are going to charge you for that. So, what some instances that you schedule that you only want to run them in the midnight. So, and you have some capacity reservation. You can reserve a particular capacity of instance. Maybe I want to reserve maybe 200 terabytes of instance. So you can do that. So because another thing we hear is what we call the machine image, Amazon machine image. So just like you have OS, we have Linux. Most of us, like for an example in Nigeria, if you are using Windows and you want to, okay, let's say you are using Windows and you want to install Linux on it, you say, okay, go and buy this, go and buy the OS, let's install it on it. So that's exactly the Amazon machine image. So you want to put that image. So we call it image, but I want to use it in the layman's language, like we are going to on someone that is new to it can understand it. So like the more software that we buy to install on our machine, maybe you're on Windows 8, then let's say go and buy Windows 10 and install it on it. Or maybe you're using Windows, say, okay, we want to install Linux on it. So that's how that works. So we have elastic block storage. So these are the type of the storage. So yeah, we're talking about the volume. You can take a snapshot. So snapshot means like you compress everything. Like if you have your folder, your file, and you zip it, so everything in the file is being zipped. So whenever you want to use it, you unzip it. So look at that principle too with snapshot. The snapshot is like maybe you have your machine image now, or you can do snapshots for anything, maybe your database. You zip everything. together. Everything is in one storage, is zipped together. So when you want to use it again, you know how to unzip it. You don't lose anything. So you can use it to create it for you to recreate. So that's snapshot. Just look it in that sense. So we have what we call the life cycle manager. So now I want to explain something here. So this life cycle manager, you know, from the word life cycle, is the one that do with the auto is, you know, when you talk about the life cycle of butterfly, I think it's kind of popular. You talk about from the egg to the larva, like the creation from birth to death. So that's exactly what this is talking about. How it's going to life market from beginning to end, something like that. So I'm trying to rush. So we're talking about the networking and security. So under networking and security, we talk about different things. We talk about security groups. So in security groups, that is when we are going to have a group of what will be accessing your server and what the way your server will be routed, the networking. So you determine that through the security groups. So we have what we call the elastic IP. So one thing I want you to know is whenever you start an EC2 instance and you shut it down, you have, okay, let me say you have a dynamic IP. You don't have the same IP you have previously. The next time you try to restart it again. But if you want to have an IP that regardless of anytime you pause or start your EC2, you want to have the same IP. So that's when you use this elastic IP. So we have placement group, key pair. So key pair is just like your key gen. When you want to do generate a private key for yourself, for your security, like your security key. So people that know about hash codes. So you know about security, you know about key, those exactly what is called key pair. Just don't want to generate your own private key that can be used to go into your instances and go. So we talk about network interface. So if you remember when we are talking yesterday, when I'm showing you this, I'm talking about this. This is the NIC card. So this NIC card is the network interface. So here is the network. So let me explain everything I explained in AWS on this diagram so you can see. So this is if you like. So if anybody has a question, I am trying to, okay. Okay. I want to try and, can we please mute our microphone? So, okay, yeah, thank you. So I'm trying to explain something now. So yeah, this is the network interface. I'm trying to use the bare method to explain it. So this is the router. So this router is the one that routes it, and it also works when we talk about the security groups. So I'm trying to bring the abstract into the physical, so you're able to understand how this thing works. So let's just go back to AWS. So where am I? So we have the load balancer. So this load balancer is just like, it's like from the word load balancer. So it's the one that balances the traffic. It does more than that, but I don't want to use technical terms. I'm trying to use for a simple term that anybody can relate with and get to understand it. So we have different types of load balancer. I'm not going depth into that. So, but load balancer is, okay, look at it in this way. Let's assume we want to go and vote. And there are a lot of people on the queue. And you only have 3 platforms that you can vote. So as people are coming, then someone is in the middle, then directing them, okay, you go to that, go to that, go to that. So if there are many people in one place, it won't direct you to that place. It will direct you to another place. So that's work of like the load balancer. So you more used to direct the traffic. So maybe you have 3 instances that is running. So you can use the load balancer to what? To direct the traffic to one of to the instance that you want, or probably maybe you have a particular instance. So it does a lot. So but I'm trying to look at the layman's language. I don't want to use the technical term because it's more like for beginners that doesn't understand or know what it is. So I'm trying to not go more technical in it. So from the word load balancer, so you manage and balance the traffic that is coming. So you have the target groups. So the target groups, just look at this thing is very straightforward. You can look at it from the English perspective, target groups. So when you are talking about target groups, maybe you have some target customers or you have a target locations. So we can call this as an example of target groups. So maybe you want only customers from this location to access this EC2. Or maybe we want people in this category to target this EC2. So we call those one a target. You can put them in a target group. So all these other rebalancers I talked about also scale into yesterday. So you can decide to scale your instance up or scale down. We have horizontal and vertical. So when we are talking about, we'll look at it. When you're talking about vertical, that means we want to increase the height, right? So in that instance, maybe you are using instance type of T2 before with 1 gig RAM, for example. If you are using vertical means going up. That means you are going to increase it. If you can shut down that EC2 and create another one, maybe with 32 gig. But when you're talking about horizontal is something that goes like this. So that means horizontal is adding. So that means you are adding, you might want to use, instead of you shutting down the instance, you can add 3 other more to what? To make it meet up to the requirements that you want. I'm having a question. Okay, I have a question in the chat. I'm trying to look into that. When we read from EC2P the other time, but you said there is a way in which you can exhaust within a couple of days. Yeah, so when we are talking about 750 hours, and it's not just, so this time is not just about the time that you on it. So it also depends on what you are running in the instance. If you maybe start a T2 micro, the time in which it's been running is different from if you start a T2 medium. I don't know if you understand me. So if you are someone that just use the instance to practice and you use it 2 hours and you use it maybe like 2 hours a day, then you can use this for a whole year. So you can use this, it's more like a complete hour. You can use it for a whole year without it getting exhausted. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So when we are talking about this 750 hours, so this is not, it's not that they are going to give you 750 hours per month. You can go back to the page and then another month they will give it to you. Let me go back to it. So it's not per month, it's for the whole 12 months free time. So it's going to last for like a 12 months free time. So it can easily, someone wants to say something.
Yes, I was going to say something, right?
Oh, okay.
So the Amazon EC2 actually you get 750 per month to run your EC2 instance, right? But I think the question here, what you're trying to understand, Abraham, is that if you're running one instance, right, you have 750 hours to run it for a month. But peradventure you run 2-3 instances, right? Those 3 instances will share the 750 hours. So let's assume you run 3 instances. So divide 750 by 3. It means you're going to exhaust the 750 before the end of the month. That's basically it. So if you use just one instance, you might not finish the 750 hours in a month, no matter the capacity or the load you're using, right? But if you are using more than one instance, like you're running 2, 3, 4 instances, depending on your workload, you're definitely good to exhaust the 750 hours before the end of the month. So if you exhaust the 750 hours, you then have to start paying, getting billed after the after you exhaust it, basically. So that's what I wanted to explain, Segun.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And that's in addition to that, that 750 hours it's much dependent on the region that you are. So, and at the same time, it depended on the type. Okay, then let me use the type now. On the OS that you are running, it's even, I think it's somewhere around here. Okay, look, okay, yeah. If you look at it, 750 hours per month on Linux or this T2 micro, you can see, and T2 micro and T3 micro instance, dependent on the region. So the price for each region is not the same. Do you understand? So it did not depend on the region. Even on Azure, the same thing on Azure. On Azure, you don't have the same. I think the question used to come out in the certification exam. You don't have the same price per region. Also in AWS too. So the price varies per region. So also what the compute hour, what varies per region. So there is even a possibility that you are running one instance and you might even exhaust it before 1 month based on the region you are and what you are types the operating system that you are using. Do you understand? So, and the instance type. So it varies. So that's why there is something we call the price calculator, where you can actually calculate your usage and what you are doing with it. I hope you're able to get that. Yeah, so sorry, I'm saying something before I've forgotten. Don't mind me. Okay, I was talking about auto scaling. So then the horizontal scaling, when you add more to it, and we can also fix it to auto scaling. What's our time? Do we still have more time? Oh, okay, we don't have time again. Just give me 5 minutes to round up on this. So I want to talk about EC2 instance. Okay, so yeah, maybe by tomorrow we start creating an instance on in different regions, and we will see. And still, I want to show us some other services. Okay, my okay. Okay, does anybody has a question? Do you have any question?
Yes, I do have a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when you were explaining the creation of accounts, I remember I created my account some years back, maybe 2 years, but at some point I just stopped using it, like I didn't touch it. So when you were opening the account, I tried to log in again, and yes, I was able to log in, but then it was saying I should complete my account by putting my credit card. So I noticed you didn't supply any credit card information here, and you're able to navigate, but this one is asking me for the credit card.
Yeah, so note, if you remember before, I said you continue the process. So when let me see, is it still on? Okay, let me check the incognito mode is still on. Remember, we are in step 2 of 3. I'm trying to check if it's still on, or maybe I closed it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I open it or something. So we are in step 2 of 3. I'm in step 2 of 5. So I think in step 4, you'll be prompted to put your credit card. And once you do it, it's just going to remove $1 and it's going to return it back after it has verified that it is you. Do you understand? So it's always request for credit card, but just for the verification. So it will remove, it's more like you will have to have like $1 in your credit card, which after that is going to return it back into your account just for verification. So it's going to remove it. So I want, okay.
Yes, sorry. Where I'm going is the 750 hours, which it's promised the other time. Will I still be able to get it now? It's more like it's maybe trying to refresh everything for me now.
Yes, sure, it will still be in your account. So one thing I want to explain also, I want to show us is the billing dashboard, but we don't
Hello,
have.
Shagun.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think the previous question you answered, right? So if you open your account over a year, you would not be able to access the free tier because the first free tier is for 12 months. So there are still some services that are always free. You'll be able to access those services, but services that are just for the first 12 months, you probably not be able to access those services. So I just wanted to point that out. So if you opened your account like 2 years ago or something, and if you've not used it or those like during the period, right, you would most likely not be able to access those services that are available for just the first 12 months.
Yeah, so in that there are some services that are technically free. Now, regardless of it, you don't need a filter, you can access it regardless of how long you have opened your account. And there are some that only have a free tier. So that one is just for more like how will I explain this? When they want to give you, all these services that will give you 7 days trial, then after that you start paying. So that's just the definition of the free tier on it. So if you should come here, so that's what I want to show us on this our billing dashboard. We see something we call the free. If you go to the free tier, you will see all the services that you have, or all the one that we have used. Like here now, I've used, so you can use this one to monitor what you have used. So I've used this, and this is the current usage. I've used it for like 1 hour. You can see I've used this for 0 hours. So I use it for this. Then you can see, so from here, you can actually try to get your free trial. So I just want to go briefly over this. Our time is up, just like 5 minutes. So this will show us the billing, what we are using every month. Then this will show us don't know why this is slow. So this will show us our billing for every month. So this is estimated. I have 0. I'm not using any. So this will show the payment you make. So for Adventure, maybe you have a voucher from AWS, or maybe someone give you a voucher. So you're going to claim it. So you can redeem your credit here with the voucher. Yeah. So there's one here. Fortunately, I was just able to use $3 out of 25. So you can redeem your credit here. So here you can see your purchase order, your cost usage report, how everything is being used. You can see your cost category, allocation tags, different. So you can see your budget here, how it goes. What's your project? You can create a project also. Like I want to use this within this time. You can see your cost explorer and the rest. So I won't be able to go through all of it. So let me just go back to this chat and see. Have some okay. Okay, you can ask your question, please. If you raise your hand, you can ask your question. Okay, I have a question in the chat.
Hello, Shagun.
Yeah, I can hear
Good
you.
evening. Yeah, the question is that I tried creating the account as you were even explaining on, but it was asking me if it was to be a personal account or one other account. So I don't know which one I should
Yeah,
go
so
ahead
I
with.
think I mentioned this. So you can go out with your personal account. You see business and personal. So if you want to use the organization, that's when you use business and you use your personal. So am I able to answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to rush and go through this.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Shagun. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is, can we use the same card details for several accounts?
Yes, you can use it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
I think someone asked the question already in the chat when you
Okay, what's the
opened
question,
account,
please?
that does the trick of adding a few characters to the Gmail work for every other platform? Or is it just a trick for AWS?
So this works perfectly with AWS, and I'm very sure. So I haven't created one for Azure or GCP because in this I used to have enough credits on it. You get, so I don't even bother having a second account because I have a lot of credit I've not even used. So I never think about creating more. But AWS I use it more often and I get to exhaust all my credits most of the time. So I'm very sure it should work. Reason is because this is just like a routing method in which you are routing it to a particular email. So it's more like the surface, you always go back to your main domain. So I'm very sure it's going to work. Even beyond this, you can use it for other platforms too. It's going to work. So that's a very big cheat code that I'm teaching us today. Do you understand? So does anybody has another question?
Yes,
Okay,
I have another question. And
someone said it does not work. Sorry, someone that said it does not work in GCP. I'm not sure. It's maybe, but it's possible and might not be possible. Okay, so what's your question?
okay, my question is similar to a question asked in the chat. And I think, can you give us an overview of the objectives of this training? Like, we at the end of this training, what are we going to be expected to know and to be able to do? And how can we also proceed from there? Because most of us, or let me speak for myself, I'm new to this and I want to know how it can aid me and my career. Thank you.
Okay, so the objective of this program is for pure beginners, like people like you that doesn't know any. That's why I'm very skeptical about using some technical terms. So I'm trying to use a layman's terms that you can easily understand what it is. So this is to introduce you to cloud computing and what is it about and what are the opportunities that is there for me and what are the field that I can pursue after this. So that's why I'm taking my time to go in depth into it to see, okay, I don't want to use more technical terms. And whenever I want to go more technical, I'm like, okay, let's go back to the beginning. So you should be able to see what exactly is cloud computing, which field or category should I go in. So this what I'm doing, I'm just doing a practical demonstration to show us what is in it. So like tomorrow, we're going to talk about the field that you can start going into, that it will be very rewarding. Of course, going into this will require a lot of study, trainings, classes, and it requires a lot. But the first step in going into this is the interest. And how do you get the interest? You get an interest when you know or when someone show you that this is it, then you can pick an interest. So that is what I'm actually establishing now to give you a platform in which can actually expose you and give you that level for the interest. So when you might pick an interest to go in, that's when you start going deep into it. Like I said before now, maybe yesterday if you are not here, we're going to have a lot of sections like this. We are talking about different things. We start talking about different tools that can expose you and can help you in your career as you want to proceed in this journey in any of the field you want to choose in cloud computing. I hope I'm able to answer your question. Yeah, I think
Yes.
I should
Yes, you did.
stop.
Thank you.
I think I should stop the recording now.